Hello and welcome everyone to New Earth Consciousness. Tania here with Vida W. Hill. She is an international transformational psychic medium and energy activator with over 2 decades of experience guiding women back to their personal power and purpose. And through her transformative energy activations, Vida helps women break free from stuck cycles, access their highest potential, and build fulfilling lives and relationships. Her work is deeply rooted in her own lived experience. Having overcome deep adversity and broken through abusive patterns, Vida is passionate about helping women move from surviving to thriving so they can boldly take up space in the world. Alongside her professional work, Vida is a homeschooling mother of 2 boys who loves drumming circles, archery, and soul-filled connections with friends. So thank you, Vida, for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Tania. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, so excited to dive into this conversation. I have some questions that I have written down, and so we're going to dive into your story of the repeated miscarriages that you had. I know we talked about that for quite some time, and that's kind of how your healing journey began, right? Through those repeated miscarriages. Would you say?
Partly. It,
Mhm.
it, it was also there beforehand, many years beforehand, where I was dealing with IBS and recurrent migraines or miscarriages.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
That led into that as well, and that natural understanding of the healing. And it was actually my mentor when I first started doing psychic readings publicly, when I met her, and she guided me into encouraging me into developing my own healing modality and to follow my intuition to heal, and expanded my awareness of what is possible for us. It's something I've always been aware of. And I've always found information. I remember my mum had this really old book. I can't recall what it's called now, but it was written way back before I was born, around using your own creative energy to create your life, to heal. So it was always there. But it's when I was having the miscarriages that I realized how far away I had stepped away from it, and then knowing and using that creative power that was actually sucking the life force out of me, which also meant I couldn't create life.
Hmm.
So I wasn't really fully living my life, and I couldn't then, as a result, live my life. So it wasn't so much a start, but it probably reignited it and put it on steroids, the
The
whole healing journey.
the whole healing journey, right? Because they were happening so frequently
Yes.
that it was, what were you looking back now? What do you think those miscarriages were trying to teach you?
So to put it in perspective, I was pretty much pregnant for 3 years straight. So I would fall pregnant, I would miscarry, and then 2 weeks later, I would fall pregnant again. I would miscarry and fall pregnant again. I was essentially just back to back pregnant for 3 years straight. And I feel the main thing those miscarriages brought in for me was really reconnecting to myself. Because part of that process was I was recognizing, because I could see my baby come in and I could see it leave. I could see it come in, and then there would be an angel or my grandmother, usually one of the two, standing in the corner of the room holding the baby. And I was like, oh, the baby's going again. And I came to realize that this was the same child coming in and going out over and over and over again.
Mm.
So I connected with him, and I asked him what he needed from me to be able to stay. And that process became where the information came through that I had disconnected so much from myself, from my passion, what I love doing, my purpose, that I was essentially, my body was physically dying. There was no way I could sustain life because I was barely sustaining myself.
Yeah.
And I feel the key in that experience, what I learned from it, is that when the babies come in and out like that, the spirit babies, they're actually doing energetic work on us, on our energetic grids, where we need healing, where we need to kind of level up for ourselves to also be better for ourselves, but also be the parents they need. So there was a double whammy. I had to become the person that he needed. Now, if you know my son, he needs a mother who's fully empowered in a healing energy because he's just next level. Like, he needs someone who can not so much guide him because he seems to know more than I do, but to actually hold that space for him. But he also needed me to be the best version of myself and the healthiest version of myself
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah.
So I feel there was the double message was living, it brought me back into living my purpose. And maybe part of my purpose is actually just be a guide for him, a support for him and for his brother, because I had miscarriages with both. But predominantly at that stage, it was reconnecting with that creative energy, that life force energy that runs through us,
Hmm.
and recognizing how it now translates, how I work with women who are cutting themselves off in some way from their own creative life force energy, not always in conception, but in life in general,
Right. Yeah.
and breathing life back. It was essentially the message was to breathe life back into myself.
So what I'm curious about the communications with your then unborn son. Those communications, how were they, was it like an actual voice or was it just more like visuals that you translated as information, like, or was it a combination of all of the above? How did they show up?
Oh, it was a long time ago now. It's 10 now. Um, for me, from memory, it was more like a knowing. So I often get symbols
Hmm.
when I tune in. I sometimes hear actual voices. I will actually hear the words come through. Sometimes I will see it written down. From memory with him, it was very much just like a knowing and probably more symbols, very clear, clairvoyant more.
Hmm.
So I've got a little bug,
Yeah.
more clairvoyant um, than anything else. It was just that knowing. And he also communicated very much using symbols through nature.
Mm.
So when he started communicating, he would show up as a butterfly to let me know he was coming in. And then he would show up as a dead bird. Found so many dead birds when I knew he was going again. So that was the first way he started communicating with me. And then it was me sitting down actively going, okay, I need to, and I don't even know what made me go. I need to talk to him specifically because normally I would go to my spirit guides, but I went to him specifically and go, okay, I need to talk to you. There was just that knowing that I need to actually hear from him.
Yeah.
And then he told me exactly what he needed. And I then had that all verified. So I didn't actually write it down. I just remembered it and held on to it.
It was just a
And
no.
then
Yeah.
it was just a knowing. I mean, I had to take action on it. I had to follow through with, okay, this is what he's asked for. This is what he said. So these are the decisions I have to make moving forward.
So what were those decisions? What did you have to start changing?
For me, it was partly I needed to come back into my spiritual work. At that stage, I wasn't doing any of it. I was in a corporate environment. I was working, I think, human resources
Mm.
at that point. And then later I moved into a property officer in that same company. So it was very corporate, wasn't a great environment. Definitely didn't really support um, my spiritual work that much, although the people I worked with directly were great. They were fabulous. He also he told me he wanted no chemical interferences. Wanted no chemical interferences. And as a result, I ended up stepping away from a naturopath I was working with because it was a whole lot of supplements, so
Mm.
many supplements. I stepped fully out of the medical system. I just went, no, nobody's touching me with anything. Um, I ended up making a decision to do a fast, 2-week fast in the middle of winter, as you do. And I worked solely with my acupuncturist and then just kept coming back to my body. So I just reconnected with, I started my own business. I started doing readings again. And it didn't seem to matter that the business wasn't flourishing. It was more that I was actually just stepping back into that energy. So I started reclaiming the part of me that I'd put aside. And part of the reason I put it aside was I was worried about when I moved to Australia how my being husband would respond to me doing the spiritual work. So I just locked it all up.
Mm.
So I basically just went, no, this is what I'm doing. I'm stepping back into it. And part of that process then involved getting more involved in environments where that could be held better, or at least where I could be held better and have that acknowledged into who I am. So it wasn't even so much about having to work with clients, it was just step into the energy. But that was what he asked. He's like, you need to be able to hold that space and no chemical interferences.
Yeah, amazing.
Mm.
And so you went through this healing process just solely listening to your own intuition, right?
Yes.
And then became a mother. Yeah. And
Yes.
were there any complications with the pregnancy or it was just fine?
No, with him, it was the most amazing pregnancy I could have asked for. It just, to this day, it still astounds me. Once he stuck, once he stayed, um, I felt amazing. I was really, really healthy. I listened to myself the whole way through. So I would listen to what my body asked for in terms of food, and I would give it to it, irrespective of what it was.
Mm.
Um, I had animals follow me around.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
literally had a bird that would every day, as I moved through the house, it would fly from window to window to look at me as I moved through the house. I had butterflies follow me around. I had puppies come and sit on my feet. If I sat on the beach to meditate, crabs would come and sit around me and they would all look at me. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I had people stop me on the street to talk to me about the stars and the planets and all things galaxy related.
Yeah.
I had people stop me and talk to me about my baby. Even after he was born, he was about 2 weeks old when someone stopped me on the street and asked if he could do he just went, wow, that's a really amazing child. Do you mind if I do his numerology for him? Like, okay,
Mm.
sure. But the pregnancy, I had people stop me and talk to me about what it was like to be pregnant. I had men stop me and say, hey, what does it feel like to be pregnant? It's like, okay, really, really random. I had the most randomest conversations and I felt really, really good.
Mm.
Felt really good. I felt really healthy. Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah, being pregnant, you're in such a liminal space. It's like you're in two worlds at the same time, so connected to the unseen. And I had similar experience with my firstborn of also a bird, like, you know, just lots of interactions with birds and also like like I remember this one little boy. I mean, he must have been like 5 or something, and he came up and this is when I just gotten pregnant. I mean, you couldn't tell yet, right?
Yeah.
He lifted up my shirt and he just kissed my belly, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? It's so, yeah, that's so amazing. So, um, we also talked about, let's jump into a different topic now. So, um, you said that many people unconsciously stay inside of like a healing identity. And and so how can someone recognize when healing itself has become their comfort zone? So when we talked about this definitely resonated because I know that when I went through my own healing journey, I mean, it was kind of like a life or death situation. So I mean, I was like so all in. And it did become this identity like of me always like, okay, what's the next thing I have to heal and the next thing and the next thing. And pretty soon it's like you're just obsessed with it and you're not allowing the, joy to vivre, to come into your life. So I wonder if you could talk about that. Like what's your awareness around that?
Well, it's very similar to what you said. It becomes the thing that you have to do, that if you just find one more thing, perhaps that's going to be the answer. If you do this one more thing, and you do just this other thing, and you see every time you do it, you feel, you know how you go, you get a bit of a high. You're like, yes, I've nailed this thing. And then 2 or 3 days later, you kind of collapse again and go, oh, okay, I feel like I've had my little bump.
Mm.
And it's a bit like doing drugs, right? You get that high, and then you want another bump to keep that high because we chase the high of that feeling that the healing session brings you.
Mm.
Instead of recognizing that when you're actually healed, you just feel normal. And I think you're in a healing cycle that every time you feel stressed out, you need to go and regulate. So you can't function without having your breath work. If you skip your breath work in the morning and your day collapses around you because you didn't do your breath work or your meditation or you don't have your little flower essences or whatever it is you've got with you, it becomes a crutch instead of I can actually hold my own energy. I can go a day without doing my meditation and still be okay. My day is not going to collapse. But if your day kind of collapses and you go, oh, it's because I didn't have my hit this morning,
Mhm.
then you're addicted to your healing and you're stuck in a healing cycle. If you go thinking, oh, if I just do one more thing, just this thing, perhaps this is the magic answer. If you're chasing a magic pill, then you're in a healing cycle.
Mm.
And you're probably addicted to that hit that it gives you each time. And you're going to keep falling back because your body's going to chase that hit that you get from it rather than the actual healing. And you may also heal alongside of it slowly.
Mm.
And I think you probably know that from yourself as well. Like you probably tried all the things instead of just you come into a decision in your body of, no, I'm here, I'm good, I'm well, and I make the decision. And
Yeah.
I have found every single time I've made a decision like that in my body, things have cleared just almost instantly.
Yeah, let's
And
talk
that could be
about
things.
that because I know I have in the past definitely fallen into that like, oh, maybe this supplement or that healer or that product or and then you're just chasing these shiny objects and not actually stopping to go like, okay, wait a minute, what's driving all this? And I see people where they're like, you know, they've got cupboards and cupboards full of supplements and they're already ordering the next thing, this is, oh, it's, I read on the internet, it's this, and, oh, whatever the next health fad or craze is. And then people, they get stuck in that. But you had this experience, if I remember right, you had this migraine and without taking anything, you got to the root of it and it just went away. Is that right? Am I remembering that
I've
correctly?
That was actually with period pain, but I have done it with migraines as well. I
Mm.
have actually come to, I'll talk about both. I'll address the migraines first. So I started getting migraines that I'm consciously aware of when I was about 5. My mum tells me it was about 5 that she started being aware of me getting migraines. And as I got a bit older, I would get them fortnightly and they'd last 4 to 5 days. That's 4 or 5 days where I'm out of action. I'm not functioning. And it came to a point where I kind of went, no, this has got to stop. Um, and I realized part of what was driving the migraines, I actually had to go and sit with them and go, okay, I just had to lean into the pain. Now, as you do this, it can actually intensify the pain first, which is really, really uncomfortable. But I just leaned into it. I went, okay, I'm just going to keep digging into it, not engage with it, just allow it to be. And
Mm.
I found that would actually clear it for months at a time.
Mm.
So I still occasionally get them. I now get more like aura type headaches or migraines, but nowhere near like what they used to be and nowhere near as frequently. And when they do come up, I now recognize, okay, I'm out of alignment somewhere. What am I trying to avoid? They were usually something that I was trying to avoid or not honoring myself in
Mm.
that they would spark up. So now I recognize what the underlying pattern is because I was willing to go in and go, okay, I'm just going to sit in it and really, really feel it. And I did a similar thing with period pain. So when I was having the miscarriages, I started getting really intense period pain, like so intense that I could barely move my legs. The pain just radiated all the way down to my feet.
Mm.
And I was like, I could barely get up and walk. I was like, wow, this is really intense. But this one particular day, I was just like, okay, I've really had enough of this. And I took myself down to the beach. I just forced myself to go down. I was like, no, this has got to go. And I sat down on the beach, put my feet on the ground, and again, I just dropped into the center of this pain. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, what's going on here? Again, without engaging with it, without listening to the narrative, just being with it,
Being with the sensation.
being with the sensation. And again, it intensifies, right, when you be with it because you're putting attention on it. And I was there for maybe half an hour and it cleared because I recognized I went in and I was like, oh, there's a bit of anger there. But I didn't ask it why it was angry. I didn't
Mm.
lead it with questions. I just went, okay, I recognize that you're angry. Also recognize you don't really feel like talking. We all just allow it. And that was the last time I've ever had period pain.
So interesting.
It was just
It's
half an hour and was gone.
yeah, just simply bearing witness and not trying to fix it and just acknowledging it. I mean, it sounds almost just like unconditionally loving whatever is, right? Unconditional love. You're not trying to change it into something else. Like, oh, it would be better if this, right? It's just okay, I fully embrace it.
Mm.
That's
It's
yeah.
That's surrender. And I have found every time you really surrender, whether it's an emotional thing or physical thing or energetic thing, it shifts. It just, you wake up the next day and you're like, whoa, it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's,
Cool.
I see this across what people would call trauma as well. You can actually release trauma like that as well. Just gone.
So interesting.
Very, very
Doesn't
easily.
have to be
Mm.
doesn't have to be complicated or involve lots of steps or
Years of
visualization.
therapy.
Yeah, all those things.
But we've been taught that we have to have a process. We're actually being taught that we have to work hard for something good in our lives. There's a conditioning that you see in society. You have to work hard to have good things, to earn your keep, to earn your worth, to earn your value, to earn your money, to earn whatever it is that you want. You have to work hard. You have to work hard for love. You have to, you everything, there's this underlying thread of I have to work hard to have this instead of actually, no, I get to just have it and be free and be me and step into that identity of this is who I am and this is what I get to have and letting go of that survival mentality, the drama, the chaos energy that comes with you actually have to work hard. You get it in schools. You have to work hard to earn your grades. And then there's a competitive edge to it. You have to actually be the best.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you pass or fail. And I'm not saying motivation is a bad thing, but there's that thing of if you don't work to a certain standard, you're not good enough. So it filters all through your psyche the whole way through. Even in work environments that I've been in, I've noticed that there was a competitive edge around you have to put in this amount of energy and effort to be better with your work colleagues and get your bonus and get promotions and be seen as employee of a month or whatever it is that comes through. There's always an underlying thing of you have to work hard to be recognized for who you are
Yeah.
or for what you can have. And those are just sort of real life examples, but we work very similar in how we heal and what we bring into our lives because we feel we have to earn the right to be healthy or well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. I don't know. I feel like I'm still trying to um, the whole manifestation thing that we see everywhere now. It's like, The Secret and visualize and act as if and, what's your thoughts and, think positive, be grateful, all those things. Um,
Most of that will get you stuck in a loop.
yeah, that's exactly right. It's like suddenly then you're just obsessed with thinking about the thing that you're trying to manifest. When I look back on my life, I feel like anything that I quote unquote manifested, let's just say, I thought about it once. I had the thought or the idea
Okay.
once, and that's it. And I let it go. And then, oh, there it was. Anything that when I started to follow what a lot of people teach of like, okay, spend every day, you know, think, telling yourself these things over and over so it can get into the subconscious and all of that. It doesn't, for me personally, it never really made a big difference. It just seems like a lot of wasted time and energy versus just, like you said, like just allowing yourself to be and allowing life to unfold. I mean, it seems like part of your work is that you really help women just reconnect to their true essence. And then so once you're connected to that, who you really are, not all the mental garbage, then things just flow, that creative energy that we were talking about at the beginning, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I mean, some of those techniques have some merit in that it can support you if you're very stuck in a lack mentality, right? It can help you bring awareness.
Hmm.
And I think this is where it brings awareness to where you're actually stuck, because it actually, when you're still doing all of that, it's actually giving you the message that you're on lack mentality. You don't have it.
Yeah.
And you don't believe that you have it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to work so hard for it. Again, it's just working hard for it. And what I find when you really start working the subconscious and recoding it, you bypass a lot of that hard work. You actually give yourself permission to have it be easy, to
Mm-hmm.
have it be easy, and to restructure your mindset in, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 sessions, to restructure your mindset that you create differently. When you start understanding it, you can actually have the thought, the intention, the desire, the clarity, and you don't have to grip on it. You don't have to force it into existence.
Hmm. What are,
And
go ahead, sorry.
no, go on.
I was going to ask, so when you work with your clients, like what are some of the approaches or the ways that you work?
I use a combination of subconscious recoding, which is I learned for a gentleman called Chris Duncan, but it's based on philosophies of Joe Dispenza, NLP, um, a whole lot of modalities combined into one, manifestation principles. And it brings it all together into one session where you basically go into the subconscious mind and give it instructions to rewrite the coding, the old coding, into a more desired coding or program that you would like to run in your life, and then to start creating the neural pathways
Mm.
for your brain to start looking for the evidence of what it is you're wanting to create. Because our brains are biased. We have information bias, right? So whatever you think, believe, or go out looking for, you will always find more of. You will always find the proof that you're looking for whatever it is you're creating, whether
Hmm.
it's good or bad, or, whatever label you put on it. So basically what this does, it rewrites a program to look for different information that actually supports the pathway that you're creating for yourself. And then I combine it with the energy work that I do, which I actually don't know how to describe. I just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring in the energy base to help clear out some of the stuck energy, as well, the stagnant energy, so that it can move just a little bit faster. So I come at it from the two approaches where you work with it energetically to put in new energy structures within the body. I call it activations. It's like you're switching on codes in the body. And then with the human mind, to allow the human mind to feel safe to experience a whole different level of reality. Because part of what goes on in the subconscious mind is it knows that it can survive everything you've experienced in your past. So your subconscious mind feels safe there. It may not be your ideal life, it may not be great experiences, but your mind and your body knows that it survived. So your subconscious mind will always try and pull you back into those experiences, and that's where you get stuck in a healing cycle. Because you know that you can survive that. Because you don't actually know what it feels like to be healthy or whole or rich or loved. And that feels foreign. So it feels like a freight. So what we do with subconscious recoding is we teach your body to feel safe in a whole different experience, a whole new level of experience that is quite often the opposite of what you're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically teaching your body to go, I can feel safe here, but doing it faster than repeating affirmations and visualizations every day.
Right.
There is an aspect of it as well sometimes, but doing it in a way that is kind of, it's like it clears out the past memories, like erases them. And that's something I have found for myself. I look back at events that potentially traumatized me or should have traumatized me, and it's like I can remember them, but I also have no memory of them. They don't live anywhere in my body.
Mm.
Like they're just a neutral, clean slate. They don't exist, but I'm aware that it happened. I can talk to you about what happened, but they've got no charge to them.
Right.
So that's what we do. We remove the charge from the old experiences, create a clean slate, and then we create. We don't heal. We don't fix. There's nothing broken. We're not putting pieces of you back together. We go, okay, here's a clean slate. What do you want to create moving forward? And then we give your body that experience so it can normalize that.
Yeah. Yeah. The subconscious, those new neural pathways. Um, yeah, the brain, it's just amazing. Like they just keep finding more and more. It's such a mysterious organ, you know. It's just kind of like what is going on in there? Like it's not even fully mapped, you know. It's like um yeah, so fascinating. Um I'll have a couple more questions. So, um what have your experiences taught you about where souls come from and how they choose when to arrive? So, I mean, you talked about it a little bit with your child, but yeah, yeah. Well, how do they choose when they arrive?
I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know anyone is 100% sure, to be honest.
Hmm.
I think that's part of we all get information that makes sense to us, right? And I think you can go down a couple of avenues of it. You can go down the avenue of you're creating your own reality. So you're going to tell yourself a story that is the truth that you can accept or want to accept. So there's that avenue. So I'm always mindful of that. But I know that Dolores Cannon talks about the dates that souls come in and come out, and that according to her and the information she's brought forward, that they are preordained.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a birth date, which is the time that you choose to come in on, and then you have a death date, the day that you choose to die on. And no matter what you do, you're not really going to stop those two dates.
Yeah.
However, from a spirit baby perspective, I have come across it also that one of my very, very first miscarriages many years ago, well before my son, I had a little girl come through, and I knew that her dad and I weren't going to be staying together. So I said to her, she's very welcome to stay. However, we will be going our separate ways, and he'd be going back to another country. And if she wanted him as her dad, then she can't stay with me.
Mm.
I'm very well aware that she chose to go with him. I miscarried her 2 hours after that conversation with her. I'm very well aware that he went on to have that baby girl
Mm. Mm.
because I knew that she was choosing him more than me. And she, for some whatever reason, she needed him as her dad, whatever he brought, more than she needed me.
Mm.
So I do believe we choose our parents, possibly one parent more than the other parent, potentially.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know what her experience needed to be for her to come in and connect with me very, very briefly. So there's obviously some kind of connection in our souls there for that agreement as well.
Mhm.
I also aware that with the spirit babies, I have come across information that says that if the parents or the chosen parent doesn't step up to do the work that's required to bring that baby in to really let them stick, they may choose to hold off until another lifetime
They
or
may
to
choose
come
to
in
what? Say that again. They may
to
choose to what?
to to
To
hold off to another lifetime to
hold
come in
off.
for those parents.
I
Yeah.
see. Mm. Mhm.
If the energy stays incongruent. So for instance, I'm quite aware that I had a third child coming through for a while. However, at that time, I made the decision to leave my husband. And the timing was just the last 3 years, there was no way, absolutely no way. I wanted to bring another child in by myself. I was just like, no, no. And now I'm at the stage in my life where I've gone, I'm good. I'm actually good. I don't really feel I need to bring another child and I'm actually quite enjoying my freedom. My boys are getting a little bit older, a bit more independent. So there's a co-creation there. There is a choice there as well of going, the timing is not right.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And it pays to be a little bit flexible, but I have found that often babies will choose not to come in if the circumstances aren't supportive for what they need for their own soul's purposes as well.
Yeah.
And that's not to put pressure on any woman out there saying you need to go and do more. It's just recognizing, are you going inwards? Are you really going inwards and connecting in? And the woman I've worked with or spoken to and stepped through this process with, they've gone on to bring babies in.
Very interesting.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. I'm very fluid with time. I don't know that any time is set in stone. I like what Dolores Cannon says because it makes logical sense that, there's a time and a place. However, I think there is a fluidity where you also get to choose whether you actually really want to bring it in. And I think if there's a part of you that's really resistant because you feel unsafe, then you're not going to bring it in,
Mm.
irrespective of the dates. But I feel there's opportunities with dates and timelines where it's going to be more ideal, where that's your window. It's a bit like knocking on a door and walking through it, or choosing not to walk through it,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious what you've been learning from your son, the one that you said is, very gifted. I'm really curious to know what he's taught you in terms of consciousness and um, just life. What new insights
Um,
has he brought to you?
well, they both are actually. They both are. They both just very different in what they bring in. And I'm watching my youngest one. He's now starting to show me more of what he's bringing in, right? And
Mm.
I found with my oldest son the same thing around the age of 7, just before the age of 7, there was like a switch flicked on, and he's like, "Bam, Mum, I'm here." I'm seeing this now coming in with my youngest. He's 6.5, and I'm watching him popping more and going, "Oh, so that's the way you're leaning more and more." But with my oldest son, what has he brought in for me? I think he was solely sent to me to teach me patience. He has about the same amount of patience that I do, which is not a lot. So, um, I have to have a lot of patience. He's a bit like living with a mini version of myself,
Mm.
and that has its moments. Really, really has its moments. But I think mostly what he's brought in is from a very young age, he has seen people. He has seen people. And even though he might get bullied, I remember him getting a bit bullied when I was about 2 or 3 years old. He was just like, no, that's good, Mum. It's just that person going through this, that, and the other thing.
Mm.
So he had that awareness. And he's come in naturally with, Mum, can I show you how to work with energy? This is how you do it. Like, oh, okay. He is also really, really good at manifesting. If he wants something within, I don't know, maximum 2 weeks, he will have that thing that he set his mind to. For him, it's mostly toys at the moment still. Although, you know, like I want 2 Nerf guns. It's very specific. He wanted 2 Nerf guns. He came home from a walk with his dad. He was really upset because they found 2 Nerf guns on the side of the road, and his dad would only take one home. And he goes, "But I wanted two. There were two." So I had to go back and get the second one. Got us 2 Nerf guns. And he just went for a walk around the block. That was half an hour. In the space of half an hour, he came home with his guns. Um, this week, he wanted to keep the caravan. I was going to sell my caravan, and he got really upset. And I said, "Okay, let's manifest together. What do you want? Let's hold that intention." The next day, his dad had messaged me saying, "I'll take the caravan. He gets to keep the caravan." Um, so he's shown me how quickly we can manifest when we just let go.
Yeah,
Because
be
when
really clear on what you want and letting
yeah,
go of it. Yeah.
because he doesn't, even though the other night he was really upset about the caravan when I said we might have to sell it. When I said let's just hold this intention together, he just okay. He
I
just
love that.
doesn't let things interfere with him. He
Mm.
just he sees people, he understands what people are going through. He has patience. He's got friends who's on the spectrum, and he calms them down. He goes into I put him in a yoga meditation, and the lady who runs the group, this was a few years ago. He's only about 6 or 7 at the time. Said to me, but he just took over and started almost leading the group. But if the other kids were quite unruly because a few of them were on the spectrum,
Mhm.
he would calm them right down, and
Hmm.
then the class continued. So.
Yeah, that's so cool.
He just has this vision that he's like, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this when I get older. So I have people calling me from his activities in groups saying, your child sees this, this, and this. Other kids do this. This is what other kids do. Your child has this vision, and that's what he's grateful for. He's grateful that he's going to be building the spaceship when he's in his 60s. Other kids are happy and grateful they've got cats and dogs and sisters and toys, and your child's grateful that I'm going to have all the parts I need to build my spaceship. So I think the biggest thing he has brought in for me with that is how to hold your own energy because he knows himself so well. He will refuse any kind of medication
Mm.
because no, Mom, my body knows how to heal. My body knows how to heal. Just leave me alone.
Mm.
This is a child who never wanted any chemical interferences. He calls things in like that. He's done healing sessions on me. He knocks me out entirely. And he will walk me through, he'll take you through step by step like I would a client, and I'd never shown him how to do it. So I think there's a message with him of that inner knowing of this is how you create your life and this is how you stay focused because he just gets what he wants
Mm.
because he chooses it.
Mm.
And he just chooses it. He says, this is what I want. There's no debate. This is what I want. I want 2 Nerf guns. I want a caravan. I want this, that, or the other thing, and it just
Mm.
happens.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to put into words, but that's the magic he brings. And he's brought it right from pregnancy, right from pregnancy. But he has shown me that with him, that he just creates out of thin air.
Yeah. Yeah. The power of intention. So clear and
Mm.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that often when we're doing the affirmations and the excessive scripting, scripting's great, but we can excessively script
Mhm.
and excessively visualize and flip our thoughts into oblivion, you drive yourself crazy doing that. He doesn't do any of that. He just, this is what I want.
Uh-huh.
And it's happening. And if he doubts it, I said, just remember, you're a great manifester. You've manifested everything else. So I'll just ask your angels to help you. Okay. And then he goes off and he does life.
Mm.
He just lets it go.
Yeah. Beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. These children that are the newer generation, they're just so different, so incredibly gifted. Yeah. Yeah. So upon closing, share with the audience, how can they find you? How can they work with you? What offerings do you have right now?
So to find me is probably best on Facebook under Vida W Hill. I have my personal profile, which is my main business profile, and also my business page. I'm also on Instagram, although less so. I have my website, which is www.vidawhill.com. But like I said, my Facebook is probably my main avenue at the moment.
Hmm.
And at the moment, I'm offering one-on-one sessions. So you can connect with me to do a once-off session. I'm also offering 6-week, 9-week, and 12-week mentoring packages because I find once you really commit and go deep in the energy, you really start holding the structure of creating your life. And that's where I've seen the biggest changes for my clients is when they go in. They do 8 to 12 weeks, usually the sweet spot, but you go in and you just really, really change it. So that's what I'm offering at the moment is for one-on-one mentoring packages. But you can do the one-on-one sessions, the one-off sessions as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I love the power and the depth of one-on-one work. There's just really, you can't really compare it to anything else like a group program or a self-paced online course or to have that deep dive with another person and to have that support is, yeah, powerful.
It's
So
it's personal, right?
yeah.
It is. I am working on a group project as well because it does make it accessible to more people.
Sure. Yeah.
But that one-on-one is personalized, so it's created just for you. You can't get past that.
Yeah.
In my experience,
Yeah.
my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Get into the nitty-gritty of things. Yeah. Awesome. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Vida, for your time and your presence here. And to the audience, please like, share, subscribe, check Vida's website out. Thank you all for being here and sending much love to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye for now.